Well, I'd love to get passed over on this because my transition wasn't nearly as smooth as Brian's. For me, there was my experience in the military after 9/11 was pretty intense. Working with the people that I worked with and the community that I worked with, and I lost a lot of people very close to me, and so. For me, I actually had a very difficult time making a real transition. When I separated from the military, I didn't separate from the community, and I continued to work in that environment and continued to do things. There was always that sense of, I'm going to do for those guys that didn't make it. I'm going to do this one more thing. I'm going to do one more trip. I'm going to do one more event, if you will. And I struggled with that actually for a number of years, and bounced around doing contract and consulting work, worked with some other agencies and stuff like that. And it was really hard on my family. And I think that what was the hardest for me was that realization a little bit too late, how hard it had been on my family. I had an opportunity to do something and decided not to do it. And when I did, I told my wife, and she broke down in tears of relief. And I was like shocked, because she's the perfect wife. And she said, even then, she said, look, I said, why? I can't believe you didn't tell me that you felt this way. Like, I've been doing this for like 5 years since I left the military, and you've never been anything but supportive. She goes, well, I'm not going to have you do it for me. Like I don't want you to look back 20 years from now and say, oh, I could have done these things for my country, because you have this sense of patriotism that's more pathological. And I didn't want you to look back and say, well, you didn't do it because of your wife or because of your kids or whatever. And my son at the time, he's 20 now, and he was, early teens, I guess. And he had the same reaction, to me. I thought he always thought it was cool. Like, he's getting these command coins and these guys are his uncles and stuff. But what I didn't realize is that in 2011, when our community suffered the losses of Extortion 1-7, some of those guys were his uncles, and that sense of loss impacted him in ways that I didn't understand until I stopped doing it. So I didn't smoothly transition. I'd love to say I did. I'd love to say I said, oh, hey, I did my part. I did my thing. Let me take my skills like Brian did. But for me, it was more like pulling a Band-Aid off for about 7 years. And so I don't think that I'm a good role model for how that should look. I made decisions to do things that I'm not unproud of the things I did, but I think that I didn't always put my family and their needs first. So my transition was a little messier. Now, meeting Brian was a good thing for me. I was writing supernatural thrillers when I met Brian, and we became very good friends. And after about a year, when we decided that we were going to start co-authoring the series, and the series became a big success, that gave me an opportunity to sort of, do something that maintained a psychological or emotional tie for me. The stuff we write in the Tier 1 series is all about special operators and covert operations, and we write very passionately about putting a mission ahead of yourself, putting your teammates ahead of yourself. I mean, these themes from the life that both of us have led are in these books. And so it made it a little easier for me to slow down and stop doing that stuff, because I had this other outlet through the fiction writing. And so Brian and I going on that journey together, I think, helped me a lot in finally really separating myself from what I had been doing. So my story's a little different.
That's good though. I'm listening to what